Hi, my name is Zach Gilfillan, and I am in the Creative Writing for Entertainment Bachelor's Degree program. I recently interviewed Chris Avallone, Creative Director, Narrative Designer, and Lead Writer for Obsidian Entertainment's current production, Project Eternity. He is also a narrative designer for the upcoming games Wasteland 2 and Torment Tides of Numenera by inXile Entertainment. Chris Avallone has been a video game writer for 18 years and has been involved in as many games. The interview was conducted via email, so I will be speaking for Mr. Avallone by reading off his responses. Question 1. What do you see as the role of the visual arts in society today, particularly in your profession? His response: My profession is a narrative designer, so for me, the visuals of a level in a game are intended to take what would otherwise be words or exposition in a script and insert it into the environment. A character's look, their facial expressions, a piece of graffiti at just the right spot as you enter a level, all of these things communicate so much about a story in the ambiance, or even provide a game direction for a player, that it's invaluable. Question 2. New communications and media technologies make imagery almost instantly available. Do you believe that this is having a positive or a negative influence on your field/industry? And if so, provide an example. His response: I feel it's a huge advantage, largely a positive. It's made it easier for me as a designer to gather reference images for how I imagine a character and talk through what I like with each image with a concept artist. And it's made it easier for artists in our industry to find sample locations, models, and more that they can build gameplay ideas off of. As an example, when doing character work for Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, the ability to hunt for images across the internet and snag samples of video footage and character snapshots was invaluable for communicating the feel and the highlights of a character to the artist. And they respond much better to that than a block of text describing the character. Question 3. What popular images do you see that are frequently repeated throughout your industry? His answer: huge, bulky Space Marine types, reference Warhammer 40k, in StarCraft, Gears of War, etc. It is one of the largest conventions I see. Also, it's a little unusual and a bit depressing to see how many copycats of movie monsters find their way into video games not long after a movie's release, to the extent that I don't think artists realize how much that's entering the collective subconscious, or if it's an overt reference. Question 4. Who is one of your favorite visual artists, and/or what is your favorite style of visual art? His response: My favorite artists range from computer artists to comic book artists, but one that springs to mind include the following. My coworker Brian Menz, who was responsible for many of the character concepts in Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords, and Alpha Protocol. Eric Campanella, who I worked with in the original Torment. Eric had a knack of taking a few sentences of character description and building a compelling visual representation of each character's theme. Also in the industry, I'm a fan of Justin Sweet and Vance Kovacs, both of whom did portraits and artwork back at Black Isle. Andre Wallin, who did concept work for inXile's Wasteland 2, the Scorpion he rendered was amazing, and Philip Dickinson, who does really effective concept work at inXile as well. For comics, I enjoy Frank Quietly, Art Adams, Neil Adams, Lauren B., Glenn Fabry, Steve Dillon, and many more that it's hard to list in one place. In terms of visual style, I prefer cartoony, blocky styles because I feel the less realistic a character is portrayed, the more the viewer can layer emotion and empathy into them. The Walking Dead, The World of Warcraft, Thomas Was Alone are all proof of this. Question 5. How has your knowledge of famous artworks influenced your creative process? His response: I don't know if I've necessarily called out famous artists in game works, although architecturally speaking, that has been very helpful. In any development meeting, being able to speak the language of contemporary artists and demonstrate knowledge of game visuals across the spectrum is a huge advantage.